My dad passed away from suicide in November, and it was, it's interesting because the whole entire story that I wanted to write came from my personal family history. And I'm one of 5 girls. My parents were getting a divorce. There are all these layers. We always say we're going to maybe publish a Lifetime movie.
I sort of knew what you wanted to do, and I'm focused on where you want to go.
Right.
And then, like, it's a little bit like you read it and you're like, whoa,
I know.
That's a lot.
You're like sweating,
wow.
Wow.
I mean, it's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
But it's also, it's really interesting to think, though, that, like, how you can marry your aspiration with, like, you didn't have, like, a clear, this does this for me, but you had an aspiration of what you wanted to contribute to the world.
Yeah.
And then to, like, sort of reveal all of it, it sort of feels like the circle kind of, I understand, right?
Yeah.
Like, I walked away like, I see why this was so important. And yeah, it was crazy, like, how the whole thing kind of came together. But yes,
especially like it just was like, then when my dad passed, that added another, I mean, I'm not saying like using it, but it added another personal layer. And I think for me, what I've gained, you know, exchanging with different people from different backgrounds, different upbringings, specifically political points of view, anecdotes are the most important thing because they humanize us. Yes. And so for me, my own personal anecdote, I was like, people can read this and it can bring them in and like kind of trust the author that I'm not like, that I have something to say. Right. But then also integrate all of these other narratives within mine and outside of mine, so people are then further exposed to new ones. And it's been a really great, I would say, honestly, like, therapeutic thing for me to write about my dad. To the end of my book is like a letter to my dad and then a letter to my mom, and it's
powerful. I cried when I read it.
Really? Wow. No.
I mean, it's.
I cried writing it.
I could guess there was a lot of tears shed. It's a powerful thing. You don't. I mean, and you're writing about something. It's not like it's not a personal narrative. The book is not that. Yeah. But it's explaining the challenges with sort of sex education as a broad theme. Right. In today's world, but you sort of add authenticity along the way of why your understanding of sex education is different because of your stories, and and Me Too happens during this whole thing, like everything
I feel like happened, exploded.
It's like you know, you sort of couldn't have known that this would sort of go that way, but
not at all.
But yeah, here you are. Your book reminds me a little of Marin's. I don't know if I have Marin's here. But,
I've read hers.
Yeah, so Marin's
so good.
She's doing a new edition of hers right now.
Yeah, she told me.
And so I think yours is the same. Is that a year from now you may think about what's happened and as things go. So I would just be in the mindset of this is like the reason for people to have this conversation, but you're gonna get to a point.
The end all be all.
Pencils down, right?
I know,
and
like,
you move on.
Breathe
for a minute, and go on that way. So yeah, it's kind of crazy to think.
And I think it feels cool for me, for, you know, silver lining of what's happened and like, tragedy that I've been through is writing this in the thick of what was going on with me. I think it will be really powerful for me and for my family and for people that know me to look back and read like raw words that came now. Yeah. You know, when I'm 45, like the book on my bookshelf that I wrote, to be able to like, it feels like a journal almost, but in a more crisp.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mean this to sound sad, but you know, your kids will never get to meet your father, right? Absolutely. And so I think there's this interesting.
And that's powerful.
Yeah, it's a powerful thing to be able to sort of share all of it because it colors you, right? In a lot of ways, so time will lessen some of those clarity pieces. It'll be an interesting, because there's this tragedy piece of it, but also you don't paint your father as like this bad man. No. You just paint him as a human who has flaws, like all human.
Like all of us.
Yeah, and that colors the way that you view and the way that his view. It's, like I said, layers. A lot of layers. Lots of layers. Because
not everything's black and white. And my biggest thing in the very beginning, like the trigger words I had were empathy and vulnerability. Yep. And I think I hope that I capture those things. And I think my dad contributed, my mom contributed, my family contributed, and these stories contributed, and that's what's the most important to me. So a lot of things that I've been doing are definitely come from a very personal place, and sometimes when even I read those things out loud or, you know, give a graphic design piece that's a poem I wrote, like, there's a jolt of like, really personal. And I'm like that, so I want that, but it is like, I think I've really been thinking about it in terms of my family reading this because they are so directly involved. Yeah. And I'm speaking on behalf of me. I mean,
you're the fourth, you have 5 sisters.
Yeah, 4 sisters, I'm the fourth of 5.
Yeah, that's right. Five total
Everyone
sisters.
trips over it. Yeah. So, you know, like for my sisters, for my mom to read, I mean, one of my sisters is one of my advanced readers and she loves it. And it's really nice hearing her intimate feedback being like, you know, I don't want to misrepresent you all. I don't want to offend my family. And I don't think I am. I think, but yes, the day of, I think, will be emotionally charged. But to be honest, I am so equipped now with emotion and things that are hard. And this to me feels more like it'll just be an exciting day to be like, look what I accomplished. And I'm sure there will be, you know, emotional aftermath and whatever it is, or any, you know, even someone reaching out and being like, I read this and I cried when I read X or X. Like that is emotional and that's powerful for me. But that's, it's of all the emotions I've experienced through all the shit I've gone through, those are like the good, exciting things. Even when they're hard, they're positive.